Hey guys, I'm Summer from BELLA+CANVAS, and we spent years educating customers on the different types of cotton. Do you know the difference between carded open end, ring spun, and heirloom combed in ring spun? If not, this video will be extremely useful for you. We're going to compare how a screen print and DTG print perform on these three types of cotton. Cole from Shirt Agency is going to show us how these different types of cotton print, but before we get started, we just want to explain the differences in these qualities of cotton. So first you have your carded open end. Your carded open end is your cheap, scratchy, heavier t-shirt.
Yeah, and then from there, a lot of our retail customers have moved on to ring spun because it has a much smoother surface.
And the next step up from ring spun is your heirloom combed in ring spun. And with ring spun, you can comb out 1% and still call it combed in ring spun, but we actually comb out about 25% of the cotton that we start with because it contains impurities that we don't want in that finished product. And we also only use long staple cotton, which has a huge effect on the final result, so you end up with the smoothest printing surface possible.
Yeah, we absolutely love printing on your guys' garments. We get a really nice hand and feel, and our prints are really sharp.
Today we're going to show the comparison on these three types of cotton that we talked about with a DTG print, a PLASTISOL print, and a discharge print. So let's go see the results. So we have our PLASTISOL prints hot off the press. What are we looking at here?
Well, the main thing to check out is on the carded open end. When you look through the loop, you can see all the different fibers affecting the texture of the screen printing. And then obviously when you touch it with your hand, it's got a rougher finish.
Yeah, you can definitely see some of the red fibers coming through.
And moving on to the ring spun one, it is a little bit better, but it's not necessarily like the best it could be. There's a little bit of fibrillation still happening, and that's causing a little bit of a hand feel. And when you move on to the heirloom, it's basically just a completely sharp finished surface. And on your hand, it feels extremely smooth.
So next we'll look at our discharge print. How does discharge differ from PLASTISOL?
So with discharge, instead of putting the ink on top like PLASTISOL, we're actually removing the dye from the garment. So this, to be honest, isn't so much about the fibers anymore. This is about the quality of the dye and the quality of the base garment. So you can see with the heirloom, we got a pretty clean, sharp result with the discharge. And then moving on to the ring spun, it's a pretty similar result, but we got a little bit more of the blue staying through. It doesn't look like the true discharge. And then carded open end normally means that it's like a cheap shirt. Yeah. So we got a really nasty color on this one, which was a bit of a surprise. And I think that comes down to the quality of the dyes that they're using.
Yeah, how you dye the shirts is just as important as how you knit the shirt. So at BELLA+CANVAS, we dye everything in LA so we can maintain that level of consistency and basically match all of our colors so you have this quality when you have your discharge print. All right, and the third print we did was a DTG or direct-to-garment print. So what do you want to look for in a shirt when DTG printing?
Well, the problem with direct-to-garment for us pretty much all the time is with brightness. And so we had a pretty great result with the heirloom cotton compared to the carded open end. I think a lot of that has to do with the tightness of the weave and the ink kind of falling into the fabric.
So with DTG, it's more important than the other types of screen printing to have a super tight knit weave since the ink lays on top of the fabric.
Yeah, and you already have such a high ink cost with DTG that your product can't be sold for very cheap. And since you're not going to be doing promo with DTG, I would think that it makes sense to almost exclusively use a nicer ring spun or heirloom t-shirt.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know if there's any topics you want us to cover in the future. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.